Hello and welcome back. We start this afternoon with the Grade 1 class. So once again, riding for the individual championship medals today. Just as the Grade 4 and 2, the medals will be decided at the end of this class. So you can see the start list. First in will be Jens Lassedokken with Aladdin. Michael Murphy from Ireland also following third in. Sara Morganti from Italy later in the class. We have 16 riders coming forwards. So riders will compete for the individual medals today, and after the team competition their scores will be combined and the top 8 will go through to the freestyle on the Sunday. So we have now Sophie Wells from Great Britain riding in the Grade 5 competition tomorrow, and also training Grade 2 Georgia Wilson. She is live with us today to help commentate on the Grade 1 class. Hi Sophie.
Hi Erin, how are you?
Thanks for coming in.
You're very welcome. It's a nice little change from the competition.
Just mixing up from riding horses.
Yeah.
Now you can talk about horses.
We do that well.
Okay, so first in, going down the centre line at 3:30 will be Jens Lassedokken riding for Norway. So we've got a super class lined up. We have some medalists from Tokyo, medalists from the last World Equestrian Games in Tryon 2018. Who are your tips for the class, Sophie?
So I think actually Jens, who's coming in now, he's had some. He's one of the longest standing para riders, still competing on his horse Aladdin. I really love this horse actually, so he'll be definitely one to watch. And
He's
then
so cool, this horse.
He is really cool. And then later in the class, Ryhard Snickers and Roxanne Trunnell should be good ones to look for, as well as Sarah Morganti.
Yeah, definitely, and they're really well spread out as well. So entering the arena, Jens Lassedokken for Norway. He's just super consistent, this horse, isn't he? And they've just called the bell because he actually didn't do his first halt.
And again. Can you ask him to go out and come in again, please?
So they're just asking him to go out and come back in and repeat that movement. Such a shame. He was so in the zone for that.
I'm sure he didn't halt, did he?
I don't think he halted.
Didn't see him halt. It's so easy when you're in a competition to be so focused and zone out a little bit, especially if the horse is giving you such a good ride. It's a very good halt.
Nailed that halt. He's made up for that. You just go a bit on autopilot, don't you? You just go into your zone, start concentrating on the job. Such a shame. Let's hope that doesn't throw him, but he seems to be back into it now.
I'm sure we'll see that running score start to rise as Jens starts the next movements in the test.
Yeah, that's just showing that first mistake at the start, isn't it?
Yeah. Grade 1 horses really have to be so reliable and consistent, don't they, in their temperament?
It's so tricky to keep that rhythm so consistent, and especially when it's buzzy, they really have to be focused on the rider. There's not a lot you can do to get that focus back. And it's just so obvious. We saw with the Brazilian horse in the grade 2, when there's a lot of tension and a lot of anxiety with the horse, it's really difficult to give them the opportunity to let that excess energy out in just the walk. But luckily Aladdin is pretty happy in this environment.
He looks so lovely with those 4 white stockings.
He's so striking, isn't he?
Like he's been dipped in white paint.
He's bought through white. Perfect white flash as well.
Yeah.
And that score's just coming up now, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're picking up those bigger marks. Leaving that hind, just leaving that hind a little bit behind him. And is that meant to be 5 seconds? Might have been a little bit quick going forwards in that. And these tests, grade 1, walk only, after the grade 2 we've just seen that had walk and trot. So mixed in with some movement, some changes of rein and a few halts, just to test that attentiveness of the horse.
Really just showing that suppleness, isn't it? That change of direction and the flexion of the horse's body and neck.
Yeah, that even from side to side.
It's so hard, actually. I've ridden through the grade 1 test and just keeping that consistency for, your 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
That walk, rhythm, consistent.
You can see even in the Grand Prix sometimes they breathe a sigh of relief when they get through the walk and they can pick up the trot, because it can be so fragile, and when there is a bit of an atmosphere, and even when there isn't, just trying to keep that rhythm and balance and attention and suppleness and not having any change of pace, just to mix it up a little bit for the horse and keep them in front of you.
A friendly horse there having a nice scratch. Friendly horse just there to help keep the grade 1 horse nice and relaxed.
Friendly horse just outside the screen, just outside your shot, just stood outside in front of the commentary area.
You see it now, yeah.
You can just see him there.
Hopefully they're nice and calm and have a calming influence.
Yeah, I think it helps when the friendly horses are friendly and less lit up. This one did a really good job, and a really nice test from Jens there. Clean test. He made it back from that first issue at the start. And just really relaxed walking out there. So nice to see.
And Meta, his trainer and groom there, greeting him as he goes out. Meta, one of the most friendly people you'll see around the showground.
He is very friendly. And next in, so we're just seeing the live score from Jens there at the bottom. We'll get his confirmed score shortly. Next in for Canada, Winona Hartvigsen, riding the 19-year-old gelding Onyx. And here's the score. 3 for Jens, finishing on a total of 72.750. So that obviously puts him straight into first provisionally. Oh, a little bit spooky. Well sat. And that's really tricky just before she was going in. She's just taking her time to settle him now. Seeing a few a little bit lit up in here. Does it feel like a different atmosphere to Tokyo, having crowds?
Yeah, I mean, I think as well in Tokyo, the stadium was massive and the arena was quite a small space in the middle. So there was a lot more space around the outside. So it does feel a lot more closed in than Tokyo. And obviously there's a bit more hustle and bustle. Probably not a huge amount more people, just because with the people on the showground in Tokyo, we filled a little bit, but
yeah,
I'm sure the crowds will increase as we go through the competition.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a lot closer in this arena. Everything's not quite as spaced out, is it?
And I think because it's a little bit breezy as well, the flags are flapping quite a lot, but they have been in the arena familiarisation the past 2 days.
Yeah.
So we get a chance to come in twice before competition for the horses to familiarise themselves. So we had Monday and Tuesday, which was good just to get them in.
And it was quite windy weather then, wasn't it? It's just so this is probably calmer than it has been.
Yeah. The weather's definitely improving.
Got bright sunshine today. Started off a little bit cloudy, but it's quite sunny now. Should be nice for this afternoon's competitors.
Quite different than the dressage riders who had to cope with a lot of rain, I think,
Yeah.
when we first arrived.
I think these have got the better end of the deal there.
Yeah.
You know which I'd prefer. And she's managed to settle this horse quite well after the spook just going in.
It's hard when you have that little bit of upset at the beginning of your test, because you've got to try and put it aside and refocus so it doesn't affect the rest of the performance. A little bit like Jens had to do at the beginning of his.
Yeah, definitely. Put it to one side, move along. That's easier said than done sometimes, isn't it?
Absolutely. Moving's quite hard doing the halt across the centre line. Being dead on that centre line without the marker right beside you.
And there's a lot of angles. The judges at A and B are going to see if you're straight. The judges at C are going to see if you're on the centre line. You can't really hide anywhere, can you?
Not at all. Very exposing.
You don't have any of the track, any walls as such to keep them straight.
Shallow 3-loop serpentine. Also quite a tricky movement to place in the arena.
Yeah, again, it must be. There's not really any markers for you when you're aiming for that 3/4 line in the middle of the arena. Just showing some good stretch there. Again, another rider who is able to let the reins slip through their hands to just allow the horse that space to move forwards. Just snatching a little bit of that rein in the medium walk after that free walk, just showing a bit of tension. And a good halt to finish. Did really well to get that back, didn't she, just after that first?
Definitely.
Yes. Lesson 200 and 73.964, 72.179,
Yeah, really good job. Really good recovery.
The horse looking quite nice and happy and relaxed coming out of the arena now,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is good. Bodes well for the rest of the week.
Yeah, definitely. Building on that positive experience for them. And a super finish there.
So next we've got Michael Murphy on a super horse.
So I'm really excited to watch this one.
So Michael was kind of tipped to be a potential medalist in Tokyo, and he had a really unfortunate incident where because he doesn't have much feeling or grip in his hands and his legs, and the rein started to slip out of his hand and he couldn't get it back. So really struggled on that first day of competition. He did a really good job for the team the following day, but it actually then stopped him qualifying for the freestyle, so I'm sure he's going to be really focused and really hungry for getting towards those medals at this competition at the World Championships.
Yeah, definitely, and it was such a shame he didn't get that chance to ride again for the freestyle, wasn't it? Because he so quickly was able to rectify that issue with the reins, ready, like you say, ready for the next day, ready for the team, and it's so hard when you qualify through like that and you don't get that second chance to ride for that medals. But
absolutely, it's just such an unfortunate situation because of Michael's disability, being the most disabled grade, and one of the more severely disabled riders. He just couldn't recover that in the test, so it was quite difficult to watch, knowing how
heartbreaking, wasn't it? It was so tough. But he comes in today, and he was very enthusiastic yesterday, really, really pleased with his horse, had a good training session.
Got a fabulous walk, this horse. Actually quite a big horse, and Michael's quite tiny.
I mean, Michael's not very big, is he? But actually the horse is big anyway. So the combination makes the horse look even bigger.
Really superb picture as he comes into the arena. Really impressive picture there. And Elder, his trainer there, who will have warmed the horse up for Michael in the warm-up before Michael got on to warm him up and then come into the arena.
And you warmed the horse up for Georgia earlier. What are you thinking in that half an hour that you're riding?
It's about getting the horse in the best pace possible for the rider to get on. So every horse and every rider is obviously different. So you have different things that you need to focus on, but getting the horse safe is the biggest thing. So making sure it's safe for the low grade riders to get on, and then trying to work through the suppleness and scales of training really, and get them feeling good for when the rider wants to get on, and then be able to perform the best they can. It's a little bit of pressure.
That was a trick question for Sophie because she warms my horses up as well. just checking that she's paying attention and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But it is pressure, isn't it? It's you play a big role in that performance, and that's what Elder's doing for Michael.
Absolutely. Got to make sure you're on your A game.
Yep, definitely. And a cracking start from Michael.
Absolutely cracking first hold.
And we joke about the size of the horse, but it is actually a testament to Michael's riding that he manages the power and even just the movement alone. It's a lot of movement to absorb in the walk test, isn't it? When you've
especially
got a horse.
when you've got a horse with such a good walk and that walks through their whole body, which is what they need to be able to do to have that really good walk. You have to be able to absorb that through your body. Which at grade 1, dependent on the disability, is quite difficult. And those 8-metre circles, I'm sure, will feel
very small.
Very small.
And Michael doesn't have a huge amount of strength at all, so he really is riding with his seat and his weight, and the horse has to be so sensitive to hear that, but safe enough to come into an atmosphere like this and perform.
Really special horses. These grade 1 horses. And starting well.
Starting really strong.
74% at the moment.
And this horse actually came to Michael after a career as an able-bodied horse. I think it competed up to Grand Prix with its current owner. So to make that transition and come into the arena and adapt to Michael's aids and just think walk and have that focus within the walk when it is used to doing so much more just makes it so special.
And it's just having those owners as well that are prepared to allow their horses, even if it's at the end of their careers. This horse is 15, but he still obviously has so much to give. We're all so lucky and grateful to have such amazing owners in this sport, because a lot of us wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Absolutely. And it just shows that, oh, that's such a shame, just not quite as on it as the first hole. It just shows how much they can do. And this horse has such a spectacular walk. It had a talent other than Grand Prix as well, and can take a step down in terms of the intensity of the work, but be performing on the world level. And I'm sure his owner is loving the journey that Michael's taken this horse on as well, and has joined him in that journey.
Absolutely, and not every horse is destined to be a Grand Prix horse, or even a successful small tour horse, but definitely can have a lot of skills for the lower levels that paras need, but still have such quality and have such a great career, which is really special.
And the horsepower has just shot up, hasn't it, over the last few years?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, you look at the grade 2s,
yeah,
and all the medalists were on 75%.
Yeah.
The grade 4s this morning,
yeah, and 76. They're just phenomenal, aren't they?
Absolutely. Then the quality of riding and training has to increase as well with that quality of horsepower. So it makes sure we keep on top of our game.
Yeah, definitely. That's our job to keep up as well, isn't it?
Yep.
We can get good horses, but we also need to find the horses and then be able to produce the goods from our side. We're just trying to distract ourselves because we can't actually hold our breath any longer for Michael, but he is just finishing with a really solid halt. And I'm so pleased for him. He's just done what he wanted to do in Tryon and ridden a really clear test and got round, and not Tryon, Tokyo, and just gone in and ridden as an individual and posted a really solid score, judging by the running score here.
I think he might nudge forward into the lead.
I think he's looking slightly ahead, isn't he?
Yeah. Big pats for Clever Boy.
Big pats. Big smile from Michael.
And his mum Sue there walking behind.
I think a big sigh of relief from his mum Sue watching.
I think watching is worse than competing, to be honest.
I mean, I agree, having just watched the grade 2s and I couldn't breathe. Sue was telling me now that she has an official role in the arena, it's even more terrifying.
Well, I have to say, I had to call the test for Georgia this morning, and I was shaking a little bit. Okay. That is a great score, 74.1. We have slight difference in the marks.
So we have
8%.
A big difference between 69, so the scores should come up on the screen in a moment, but 69 to 77.
Yeah. I think we saw that this morning with Georgia's test as well. There was 8% difference.
Yeah, we've had a few riders that they've been fairly similar, but a few riders there have been a very big difference. And you'll see the scores just coming up on your screen now. So that puts him on a total of 74.143 and provisionally into the lead. Which he will be very pleased about. So next in for Poland, we have Magdalena Sajkak riding Sibylla. 14-year-old mare.
So welcome from Poland, Magdalena.
It's great to see Poland here. Got more and more nations competing. I think we've got 28 nations.
28 nations here, yeah.
Which is just brilliant, and 83 riders, which is great that we can fill those quota places.
Yeah, definitely. And that's with, you know, teams are limited to 4, and there's still that many riders, that many flags coming forwards, and, you know, having riders have to qualify to get here. They have to hit that minimum eligibility at a 3-star, and then each nation will have their own criteria. But they've all had to hit that minimum eligibility just to qualify. So just entering and starting with a really good halt, actually. Just not quite square behind, but in front. She entered very straight, square in front. Good immobility. And this horse doesn't quite have the same scope that Michael's horse did, but she's doing a really good job at keeping the rhythm the same throughout the movements. Just a little bit of resistance on the circle now. But got it back really well, ready for the change of bend.
This horse really staying in a really nice, consistent outline. You can see that the rider's hands struggle to stay still due to the disability, but they're not negatively impacting on the horse. The horse is staying in a lovely frame.
And it's really difficult with things like that, isn't it? Because some judges will say they want it more into the contact and the connection is affected, but actually the horse is showing some really good self-carriage, not right at this moment, but through some of the work, it's, you know, she's not controlling the horse with the rein, it's staying in that frame on its own, and she's able to influence it but not hinder it with that movement.
Yeah, and I think the point is, like, the self-carriage has been developed through the training, so the horse is able to hold that consistency in the frame. Just quickening a little bit on that first loop of the serpentine. Getting it back now.
And for the horses, it takes a lot of training, but a special horse to know the difference between that involuntary movement and an actual aid that the riders are giving, because often in the lower grades their strength is limited and they are weaker, so the aids are quieter sometimes because they don't have that strength, but at the same time they do sometimes have that involuntary movement, and the horse has to know the difference between what an aid is and actually what they need to ignore, because it is an involuntary movement. and that must be so tricky to get that balance. Just a slight jog there, a little bit too much enthusiasm.
Really good job.
Yeah, she did a really good job there, didn't she? We had a few moments of tension at times, but she very quickly got it back every time.
Some of these horses won't have seen championship atmospheres before, so even cameras following them around the arena, flags everywhere. You know, sometimes it's quite a lot for them to take in, depending on their temperament, so doing a really good job.
Absolutely, and even the ones that have seen it, we don't get that many opportunities to get them in this environment, do we? Kind of once a year there's a championship, but there aren't that many big shows where there is a big buzz and there are cameras everywhere, and it makes it difficult for the horses to normalise it and to know how they're going to behave, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
For us as riders, you sometimes don't know whether it's going to help them or they're going to be worried by it, because you only get one chance a year almost to try that out, and it's always when it matters.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you don't know until you go in.
Absolutely.
And we just have to be prepared to adapt to what the horses give us in that arena. But that is then your horsemanship skill shining through.
Absolutely. And Don Cara, your horse, how's he feeling this week?
Yes, he's good. We're waiting to start tomorrow evening, so our class was actually moved from today to tomorrow evening. But this is his second championship. He went to Tokyo, but as my reserve horse last year, so that was quite a big thing for him to do. But really nice this year that Roland Kinch and Maria, his wife, are here, his owners, at their first championship. So lovely to see them, and hopefully they'll enjoy watching him dancing.
Possible, don't they?
Definitely. And I think the fact that, we've got the show jumping going on today, we've got the Grand Prix freestyle this evening, and lots of shopping. Hopefully that gives them a lot to...
An added incentive to
watch.
So next in, we have Julia Skian-Kalapor riding the 10-year-old gelding Heinrich IV. It's
a lovely couple of riders from Greece. I think they did a bit of a European tour of competitions, 3-star competitions earlier in the year, June, July time. Took a very long journey. Took a few days for them to get from Greece to Holland. We saw them in,
yep.
Didn't we?
Kronenberg in June.
Lovely to see developing nations like Greece here, Miss Olympia.
Yeah, definitely, and it's such a massive commitment, isn't it? For that, they were telling us about the journey, and I mean, we felt guilty about moaning about our trips ever, but it takes so many days, and it's such a huge commitment for them to come over and commit to doing a tour like that.
Definitely. I mean, equestrian is an expensive sport. We can't get away from that, but I think transporting anything at the moment in the current climate is relatively tricky. But they've really committed to their campaign this year and upping their game, and we've already seen a lot of improvement in the riding and the training, so they've done a great job.
Yeah, definitely, and they've really put themselves out there against the really good nations and in these busy competitions. And it's really showing they've, hitting those requirements and some.
And later we'll see
Tony the Pony.
Yeah, her teammate, Is it Michael?
Yep.
With Tony, who we've nicknamed Tony the Pony. He's more famous than most of the others.
Tony the Pony is definitely more famous than most of the riders. Not least because he has a catchy name.
Who wouldn't want a pony called Tony?
I mean, Tony the Pony.
I think her trainer is standing there next to the steward at the top of the arena. He's probably riding every single step with her.
Have you seen her breathe yet? She's doing a really good job of keeping this rhythm the same though. She rode really nicely into that hole. It was a shame she just left one hind out to not complete that square, but really good in front and actually rode positively and forward into that.
Onto the serpentine now. Quite difficult to see the accuracy from the angle that we're at.
That looked a little bit
Wide.
large, but hitting towards the track here.
And the accuracy is so important at all the levels, especially at your championships, because the judge isn't just looking at the quality of the walk, but also then the accuracy of the shapes that they're performing.
And that's where, yes, you want a horse with the paces, but actually those accuracy marks you can really pick up whatever you're riding. And that's how they can turn those marks into a little bit higher. And they've been doing a really good job with the other movements as well, just picking up those marks. I feel quite calm watching this horse, so I feel like the horse is settled. It's not on edge.
You can trust it and sit and relax a little bit.
Yeah,
can't
definitely.
You? Nice halt to finish.
Super finish, super straight. She'll be very pleased with that. Big pats for the pony. Super job. And we will get those scores coming through shortly. But thank you, Sophie, for joining us. She has some very important jobs to do, like going to ride Don Cara ready for tomorrow.
Yep. We'll have a good rest of the class.
Thank you.
It goes smoothly.
Have a good ride.
Thank you.
And good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
And just following that comment, I've actually already had some Tony the Pony appreciation messages. So his fan club is far and wide, but a super job there. And the marks for Dimitra just coming through now. And again, we have a little bit of difference here, so you'll just see them on your screen. So 62 to 65%, so finishing on an average of 64.143, which puts her in 5th place at this moment.
Paralympic athlete, FEI World Equestrian Games participant in 2018, and 3-time European Championship participant. She is ranked on the FEI.
So here we have the current top 5 standings. Michael Murphy for Ireland still in the lead on 74.143. Jens Lassedocken on Aladdin in silver, and Winona Harvickson for Canada sits in bronze. So we have one more rider before the break. And that will be Julius Guian-Calapor. So riding for Austria, Heinrich IV. So again, Julia choosing to ride in the double bridle. For some riders, it just helps to have that refined aids, get that response from the horse. And some horses are just happier in a double bridle. If they've been trained in one more than a snaffle, sometimes they're just happier in them. So as riders, we have the option to choose between a snaffle and a double, which is really nice. And we can ride in whichever the horse is more comfortable in. Just a little bit unsettled in the mouth. Showing some nice steps, but just needs to settle a little bit in the bridle. You can see there's a lot of movement in the mouth and not quite wanting to connect into that bridle and take that rein forwards. But again, it's so difficult with some of these riders that don't have the strength or struggle with or the control in the hand to keep that consistent contact. So some riders choosing to ride with a slightly looser rein, showing good immobility. And that just gives the horse a little bit of freedom in the head and neck sometimes when there is a little bit of tension, so they don't feel trapped. And that's where Michael actually was so good with his horse. He's so consistent in the contact, so good in the connection, and so good with the rhythm and the stride staying the same, and it all looks so easy, and the horse looks so happy within that. But pulling in some really solid marks here. Currently trending above 70%. And they're showing some good stretch, but just wanting the horse to take that nose, take that contact forwards a little bit more. And that's such a difficult movement to do. You can see her leaning forwards there to give the rein, but almost needing to have her hands a little bit lower so she can stabilise herself on the horse, because that's actually takes quite a lot of balance and control and strength in the core to be able to lean forward whilst the horse is moving and then regain your posture. Keeping a really nice rhythm throughout that test. Oh, just finished up that halt with a super final halt, and she is very, very happy. Very happy. Big pat to the horse. And so she should be. Super test. And lots of cheers, big cheers from the Kiss and Cry. Big thumbs up from her. You can't quite see on your screen because you're seeing some replay, but she looks delighted. It's so nice when the riders can come to a competition like this and deliver a performance that they're proud of, because that's what everyone works so hard to try and do, and it's so difficult to actually achieve. And the results coming through here for Julia. Judge at E, 70.8, Judge at H, 71.7, Judge at C, 69, Judge at M, 70.5, Judge at B, 72.6, leaving her in a total of 71.072, which puts her into 4th provisionally. So we now have a short break before the class continues, and next rider down the centre line will be at 4:44, and it will be Sara Morganti riding for Italy. Here you see the current top 6. Michael Murphy finishes the first half of the class in first place, riding for Ireland on 74.143 on that podium spot. Jens Lassedocken with that early lead in silver currently, and Winona Hartvigsson for Canada currently lying in bronze position. But we still have several combinations coming forward after the break. So we will see you back here ready at 4:44 with Sara Morganti. No, everything was fine again.
They couldn't have done it before, did they? Because that was not just 1,004 people. Just done that. I think we've got a short stroke. Yeah, it is. I came with all my clothes this morning, every single thing, like that, I was great, and of course it's so hot.
Yeah.
But Denver is very, a bit variable. Can't figure it out. What about the middle? Thank you. Yeah. Let's do this.
minutes we will start again in BB Horse Arena in the Orifam Healthcare FEI World Paracross Individual Championship presented by Dressage for Grade 1. It is a silent applause competition. And let's look at the rankings so far. In the lead, Ireland and Michael Murphy with Clever Boy. The score to be is 74.143%. Second place, Jens Vestergaard and Aladdin from Norway, 72.75%.
Okay, so we welcome back for the second group in the Grade 1 competition. Michael Murphy sits in the lead on 74.143, and the next rider in will be Sara Morganti, riding Royal Delight for Italy. So our current podium positions are Michael Murphy for Ireland in gold, 74.143. Jens Lassedokken in silver position on 72.750. And Winona Hartvikson for Canada in bronze on 71.893. So those are the scores that Sara will need to beat to move into a podium position.
Please welcome from Italy, Sara Morganti and Roy Delight.
So just entering the arena now.
World champion, individual Paralympic bronze winner, and double silver medalist.
And Sara comes in with a very strong record in competition. So double bronze in Tokyo, double gold at the last World Equestrian Games in Tryon. So she's coming in here looking to defend her title.
Together with this mare, she has conquered many medals for major championships, and now we get to see them.
So she brings forward the 17-year-old mare, Royal Delight.
Sara Morganti.
Really super competitor, Sara, and a host of medals to her name, so she is no stranger to a championship atmosphere. She will be looking to challenge those scores on the podium. This horse has had scores up to about 76% in the straight test this year. So really unique. She's just choosing to trot the horse around the edge of the arena. So riders in Grade 1, obviously the test is walk only, but some riders can walk, trot and even canter. So they're allowed to use those paces around the edge of the arena and just probably using it to try and settle the horse, let a bit of energy out. Had a little bit of a spook before she was coming in, so maybe just felt slightly on edge, and she just wanted to give it the chance to let a bit of excess energy out before being restricted to just the walk movements. So a good entry there, not quite square but very straight. Just left a leg behind, hind leg behind. Again, in the freestyle, riders actually have the opportunity to introduce some trot movements if they want to. But none of the compulsory movements will be in trot for Grade 1, walk only. And showing some good change of bend there after the circles. Starting on a very strong score of 77%. And Sarah's able to keep a really good connection with the horse, really good consistency in the contact, good activity in the steps. And keeping that rhythm the same. Just backing off a little bit on those circles. Those 8-meter circles really tough to do for horses with a bigger walk, but also really highlights the suppleness of the horse, because if they're not supple, they really struggle and can sometimes back off on the circles. Super square halt there. And really good immobility. And a really good movement, a really easy movement to say to the judges to demand those high marks. Very, very black and white, square, or it's not square. Just coming into that serpentine now, so that circle. Change of bend on that serpentine, keeping the rhythm the same. Really good positioning, so it should be from 3/4 line to 3/4 line, so the judges on the centre line will really see, and even on the short side will really see how she's placed those. A little bit more difficult for the judges E to B to see that, but they can also see how she's placed the 3 loops and whether they've been even. So that's why we have judges in different places. There's really nowhere to hide with these movements. Showed a good stretch there. It could be a little bit more supple in its body and in its neck, and not quite as uphill as some of the horses that we've seen, but stays really nicely up in the pole, really out to the contact, and really good, consistent in that frame. Gives a really consistent picture, and a real lightness and ease of the movements. And a really, really good centre line and halt to finish. So they're waving in the kiss and cry box, so that's the silent applause that they have mentioned here in the stadium, just asking the crowd to wave instead of clapping. Some horses aren't so keen on it, and it just gives them another way to show their appreciation without upsetting the horses. A really, really super test from Sarah, really solid test, riding for every movement, and I would imagine, based on the running score, that will go into the lead. She gives a big wave, a big cheer from her team and supporters in the kiss and cry box. Some of them may or may not have been watching the live scores, but they will have seen the live performance and seen that she's done a really good job. Italian supporters in the audience. And the scores for Sarah coming through just now. Wow. She has posted a stonking score. 78.750 from the judge at E, 77.8 from H, judge at C, 78%. Absolutely phenomenal. Very consistently on 77 or 78%, leaving a total score of 78.393. Some really nice pictures here. just hearing her score come through and hugging all her supporters, some tears. She goes straight into the lead by a huge margin. So here's your new leaderboard. Sara Morganti and Royal Delight, top of the leaderboard for Italy, 78.393. Michael Murphy now sitting in silver for Ireland on 74.143. And Jens Lassedokken with Aladdin for Norway on 72.750 sits in bronze. And Sara came in as one of the favourites in this class, obviously looking to defend her title as well. But we still have a few more to go later in the class. We have medalist from Tokyo, gold medalist from Tokyo, Roxanne Tronnell, Rihard Snickers, who took the silver medal, and we also have Laurentia Tan coming forwards too. So lots of medalists coming to follow. But for now, Sara Morganti sits in gold medal position. So now coming forwards for Portugal, entering the arena, Ana Isabel Mota Veiga, riding the 15-year-old Convicto. Another Lusitano here. And it really is great to have all these different breeds at this championship, and really showing that with correct training and good riding, these horses are competing at the highest level, and they all bring such different qualities to the arena. Looking really focused in this test. This walk is really holding a very solid rhythm throughout all the movements. Sits nicely in a nice frame, in a consistent contact. Doesn't quite walk through its body like some of the other horses that we've seen, but shows some really super steps. Just showing that little bit of tightness in the back, but into a square halt. Very good immobility. The horse just dropping a little bit down on the bridle there. You want to keep the horse up in the frame, up in front of your leg. Even though you're in halt, you want that feeling that if someone said go, you could go, and you want to feel like that uphill moment. That first step is forward and uphill, rather than forward and down into the ground when they're a little bit on the forehand. And that's really difficult to achieve and have that immobility as well. Another rider here choosing to ride with 2 whips. Riders have the option, particularly at the lower grades. You can get dispensation for extra sort of aids or adaptations, and just for riders with a weaker lower leg or missing lower legs like myself, that those 2 whips just almost help to keep the symmetry. Sometimes riding with 1 whip, the horse wants to move away from the whip that side, and if you don't have the leg support to catch them on the other side, you're constantly trying to swap over the whip, and you lose that power and impulsion out the side, and you want to channel that power so that it can come up and out the front. When you it's like a hose pipe, and when water's going through a hose, if there's a bend or if there's a gap, you lose the water through the hole, and the pressure coming out the end is not quite as much. So you want to channel that energy straight through the middle, and having a whip either side just acts as those extra aids when you haven't got that leg aid to support it. Just helps to channel that energy, maintain the alignment of the horse, keep them straight from side to side. And a super halt to finish. That was a really clean test for Portugal. And again, it's nice seeing these newer countries coming out, and they've really upped their game over the last few years, and it's really great to see the standard of riding for everyone is constantly improving, and we're constantly being challenged to be better. Big smiles coming out. Just that final halt. Super finish to the test. Again, she also had those looped reins. So again, another adaptation that riders can have if you struggle to have a problem with your hand, or that's part of your disability and it affects your strength. These loop reins are a godsend because we cannot ride without them. So the score's just coming through now. So judge at E, 71.250, judge at 8, 70.3, judge at C, 68.7, M, 69.6, and B, 71.4, leaving a total of 70.286, and she goes into 6th. A really solid score for Anna. I'm sure she'll be very pleased with that. Super consistent performance from her. So she sits in 6th provisionally, so again looking for that score, going towards that freestyle qualification for her as an individual. Qualifying through on Sunday, so the scores from the individual competition and the scores from the team competition in a couple of days will count towards that. So a very good score on the door from day 1. And next in from Greece, the second rider for Greece, Mikhail Kalarakis, riding the legendary Tony the Pony.
Please welcome into the arena from Greece, Mikhail Kalarakis and Tony. He is ranked as 31 on the FEI Congress on.
And you may have heard earlier, Tony has been on a bit of a European tour with the Greek team. They've been doing some CPDI 3 stars throughout Europe. And it just takes such a commitment to get these riders and the horses and at these competitions. So Greece is obviously so isolated, it takes such a lot of travelling for them. But they've really put in the time, really put in the effort, and and these riders are starting to see the benefit of it. And it's so important that people get behind these riders, and we can't do this on our own, and we are so grateful to all the teams and the people that support us and enable us to do this and live our dream ultimately. So just preparing to go down the centre line. They're just opening the arena now. And actually it's a very small detail, but it's so helpful at competitions when someone does open the board like that, because when the rider has to wait for the bell to enter, and a super halt there for the start. The bell signifies that the judge is ready and the rider can enter, and actually the board is not removed until the bell has been rung. So for those riders with not slightly less hearing or hearing impediment, or even for those riders just really in the zone and concentrating, it can be very easy to mishear a bell, or think you've heard it and actually enter before you're invited. So that shows the rider that they are ready for you and you can enter the arena, and it's just one less thing for us riders to worry about. So after that super start, it's averaging 68%. Oh, such a pity, a slight loss of rhythm there. So he's choosing to ride again with these split reins, but he also has a number of different loops on the reins, and that does mean that he can shorten and lengthen the reins throughout the test. Whereas the rider that had the loop reins previously had a different type, and it was a single loop with a buckle. And you can adjust these, but not while you're riding. You would have to stop and move them. So if you want to, sometimes you want a slightly shorter rein for the trot and give them a bit more space in the walk. You can't make that adjustment, so that's the downside. Whereas these reins do enable you to, but the loops are bigger, so it's harder to make these smaller adjustments. So sometimes you have to compromise on the reins being slightly too short or slightly too long. So there's pros and cons to both types, and it's down to the rider's personal preference as to what works best for them and what's easier to hold. And also if they're riding different horses. Very good behind. From this angle it didn't quite look square in front, but may just be the angle. Tony is showing some very good relaxation in this test, and he's picking up some good marks as well. Nico is doing a super job with this test. Again, just at times goes a little bit down in the frame, a little bit too low in front, but generally stays in a very good self-carriage. You can see that he's not holding him too much with the rein. Really riding with his body. Just dropping. So he can drop the reins to do the stretch. So he's done a bit of both. He's lengthened the reins but also leant forwards. So that means that he doesn't have so much rein to pick up. See there, he's just adjusting it, but he can give him a little bit of extra space. Just getting a little bit on the forehand as he approaches the end of this test. And a super final hole. And look how happy he is. He is thrilled with that. That was so nice to watch, and such a nice big smile on his face at the end of the test. Tony the Pony, what a legend. Fantastic, superb performance. This combination just gets better and better every time I see them. And so we have shouting and cheering from the side. He gives them a nice wave as he comes out. He's completely dropped the reins coming out. He completely trusts Tony. Just showing that stretch there, how he adjusts the reins. And again, this combination doesn't have that many opportunities to get in front of an audience like this, and to be able to come out here and deliver a performance like that, which must be nearing a PB, definitely near the top of what he's been getting this year. It's so impressive, and it's such a good temperament that horse has to be able to come in this arena and deliver something like that. Super scores. Judge at E, 69.6, judge at 8, 68.7, judge at C, 67.5, judge at M, 67.5, and judge at B, 68.75. So finishing on 68.429, and he goes into 7th at this point in the class. But he will be thrilled with that. And I am sure there'll be a lot of Tony the Pony fans out there celebrating with him. Super result from Greece. So Sara Morganti still out in front on that incredible score of 78.393. Michael Murphy's sitting in silver on 74.143, and Jens Lassedokken still in bronze on 72.750. He was the first in and is still on the podium at this point in the class. We have 7 more riders left to go. But next in will be Anne-Frédérique Royan on Quarterboy LH, riding for France. So 12-year-old gelding, quarterbacked by De Niro. And France also will be looking to get some good scores here for the team, with that eye on the prize of that Paris Paralympic qualification for their team place. As a host nation, they should automatically get a spot as a team, but they'll want to be building up their team ready for that strong performance there. next in for France. This horse looking very at home in the arena. Showing some good steps in the walk movements. Just a little bit against the hand at times. Showing a good rhythm. Another rider opting to ride without gloves. And you can see in the background how busy it's starting to get at the showground. We have all 4 disciplines competing today. So we have a lot of spectators walking around, and it's just got busier and busier as the day has gone on. And that top corner, when they're going towards, there's a lot of movement. It's a really good experience for these horses to be able to cope in this atmosphere. Just went a little bit against her again, going into the halt, so not quite square, and now we've got the rein back, so that you can see that where the horse is leaning on the rein and actually going into the halt, it then thinks rein back. It's just on the forehand and not thinking backwards a little bit rather than thinking forwards, ready to push out of that halt. That was a pity, that will be expensive. It's really great to have so many other disciplines here at the same time and have this World Championship environment, so that people new to the sport or not so aware of the sport actually are walking past and stop to watch and almost gaining new interest just from seeing the magic of para-dressage. It's really special to have this sort of exposure for the riders and their horses. Yeah, and you can see that score's dropped after that halt. Just again, a little bit of resistance here. Horse was very happy to move into the free walk and stretch that head and neck. It did make the pickup a little bit more tricky. A really good straight finish here. And again, you can see there's a slight asymmetry with this rider. And, oh, yes. Finish the halt. Super finish to the test and big claps for the horse. And it is really tricky when there is an asymmetry with the rider because it does affect their balance and the weight distribution. And the horse sometimes can move under that and anticipate that as an aid. And it can sometimes it's really difficult to keep that straightness. You know, as riders, we try to sit as evenly and as centrally as possible, but when you do have that imbalance or that slightly different weight distribution, that can be really tricky for the horse. And you're just watching that unfortunate moment in the halt. Some really super steps shown though, and the horse really tried to stay with her throughout this test, and a really strong finish at the end here too. Just, yeah, picking up that final step. And the scores are just coming through now. Judge at E, 69.2, judge at H, 69.2, judge at C, 67.5, judge at M, 66.7, and judge at B, 66.4, leaving her with a total of 67.857 and slotting into 8th place at the moment. So our top 10 as it currently sits, Sarah Morganti still out in front, Michael Murphy in silver and Jens Lassedocken sitting in bronze. And you'll see the scores from 7th to 9th are actually quite close. So again, when we're looking at that qualification for the freestyle, it could potentially be quite close. So putting a really solid test down today really helps when going forward and takes the pressure off a little bit going forward for the team competition, but it helps to put you in a really good position. So those two scores to be combined for the top 8 going through to the freestyle. She's a European Championship participant from Rotterdam and ranked as 13 on the 85 passport individual ranking for Grade 1. So next in the arena for Italy, Carola Sempaboni riding the 17-year-old gelding Paul. So welcome here, Carola Sempaboni and Paul from Italy. So just been led around the arena there with a trainer, giving the chance. You can see in the background the numbers of people walking around the trade stand, and they have a really good view of that as they come around that top corner, as we've just seen with a few of the horses. So the trainer just walking around with her, giving the horse confidence, checking that they're happy in the arena together. After leaving all his friends out in the warm-up. And this first centre line is a real chance to, it's the first impression for the judges. So if you can do a really good first entry and halt, it sets their expectations high. And it's so easy to throw the marks away by being slightly crooked on the centre line or off the centre line. So it's not an easy task to start strong. That's what we all aim for. Just a little bit less keen to bend to the left this way, but you'll also notice that her legs sit a little bit away from the horse, so she can't always give that support to their body to get that bend through the body, and carries 2 whips to rely on giving the aid that the leg would. However, this looks fairly similar on both sides, so whether that helps or not, who knows? It's probably equally challenging both ways. I think it's, yeah, that it helps having the centre line before the circle because it helps her get the positioning, but that turn off the circle, there's not much space to ride straight before you get the new bend, so you have to very quickly shift that weight over back to the middle where they want to push out on that circle sometimes. Oh no. Just not quite squared up in front, which was a pity, square behind. She's showing some really consistent work through this test, and the horse is really trying hard to stay with her and concentrating throughout the movement. Again, would like to see the horse sometimes a bit more uphill, so wants to go a little bit too much on the forehand. But very consistent, very good in the contact, very willing. We're just talking about those tiny details. We always want more as riders. A really nice stretch, just a little bit on the hand, on the pickup. And that was really highlighted in that transition. Went into the stretch very nicely, and it was the pickup back to medium walk. Just wanted to sit on the rein a little bit. A really super straight centre line. And another straight halt, just leaving that left hind behind for the complete square halt. But really good immobility, super test, very well ridden. And there's the Italian team, full of appreciation. Sara Morganti come out to watch her teammate. And again, another horse that I just felt very calm watching. Looked very settled in there. Hearing some very big whoops and cheers from the Italian team as she walks out. I think they're very happy with her. And it might be very tight, so the score to beat for bronze is 72.750. great to see so many spectators out here. So yeah, the score to beat, 72.750 to move into a podium position. And it's very close. Judge at E, 73.7, judge at H, 73.2, judge at C, 71.4, judge at M, 73, judge at B, 69. So that mark being very, very costly for her. She finishes on 72.107 and goes into fourth, just 0.6% behind the current bronze medal position. Again, a 4% difference. The judges generally agreeing there, with one just slightly lower. But the podium stays the same. Sara Morganti out in front, Michael Murphy in silver, and Jens sat in bronze. So these are the marks people will need to beat to get in that podium position. And next in for Brazil, we Sergio Froes Ribeira de Oliveira, riding the 9-year-old gelding Millennium.
Sempre bem para baixo. Pode pôr mais do que você está acostumado.
And just been led around there by the trainer, looking a little bit unsettled. So just taking as much time as they can, reassure the horse. Give the horse confidence before going in. And riders can see, so at the end of the arena, there's a countdown from once the bell goes until entering the arena. So riders know exactly how much time they have to get into the arena. So the more experienced riders, or the braver riders, will really take their time if they need it. It's very easy to feel under pressure to get in the arena as quickly as possible, but you have that there so that you can see, so that if the horse is unsettled or you're not ready, you can see exactly how much time you have and use that to the max. And this horse, still a little bit unsettled, but is doing a really good job to keep it together. Coaxing him round through the movements. It looks like he's starting to settle the more he does. Just getting a little bit quick in the rhythm and a little bit hurried, but he's just riding what he has at the time. He's just trying to settle him, allow that forward movement, and let him settle into his own rhythm just to try and get round as cleanly as possible. Good in front. He's doing a really good job with this. We saw how difficult it was for the Brazilian horse in the grade 2 every time he came to the walk, and he actually had some trot movements to help break up the tension and let some of that energy out. We don't have that in grade 1. They are only walk movements, so they don't have that opportunity to have a trot or a canter and let some excess energy out. Is starting to go a little bit, just showing a little bit of relaxation, starts to breathe, and the walk really highlights any tension or resistance, and it's so difficult to get that when they're really holding or when they're tense. Some super steps though, when those moments when he gives. But again, it's not often these horses and riders are in an atmosphere like this, and it is a big deal. Really straight centre line to finish. And a good hole, and that's a shame. I feel like I want him to go back in and start again, because the horse was really starting to settle towards the end of that. But he did such a good job, and that shows his skill to make the horse more settled as the test went on, and really give him the best shot coming in for the team competition. And again, building on it for the future. You really want to leave the arena with the horse more confident than when they went in. And I think he's managed to achieve that today. So we'll just wait for those final scores to come through. Judge at E 65.5, judge at H 63.5, judge at C 68, judge at M 66, judge at B 63, finishing on a total of 65.357 and going into 11th at this point in the competition. So a real mix of scores there from 63 to 68. So unfortunately the tension being a little bit too costly. But that is your top 12. So the podium riders are unchanged. Sarah Morganti out in front for Italy on that whopping score of 78.393. Michael Murphy sits in silver with Clever Boy for Ireland. And Jens Lassedokken, the first rider in, still sits on the podium in bronze medal position for Norway on 72.750. So we now have a short break before the next rider is due in for the last group of 4 riders at 5:58.
Hello. Do you know who's the area manager around here? The white cap? Oh, all right. Thank you.
sky fall could only bring the rain. I sat in darkness, all broken hearted. I couldn't find a day, I didn't feel alone. I never meant to cry, started losing hope. Somehow, baby, you broke through and saved me. You're an angel, tell me you'll never leave it. 'Cause you're the first thing I know I can't believe it. Holy, 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 I'm loving you, I'm loving you. You're holy, 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 I'm loving you, I'm loving you. You made the brightest days from the darkest nights. You're the riverbed where I was baptized. Cleansed all the demons that were killing my freedom. Let me lay it down, give it to you. Get you singing, babe. Hallelujah. We'll be touching heaven. You're an angel. Tell me you'll never leave it. 'Cause you're the first thing I know I can't believe it. Too close
Sorry, excuse me, I'm just getting a little sleepy behind you.
So yes, it does. Welcome.
Can I get some coffee? Oh, hi. Really well, how are you? You alright? Yeah. Yeah, she's
Brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, sister, know the water sweet, but blood is thicker. Oh, the sky comes falling down for you. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
yeah, see what we're doing. No, I know, but as in, I'm lost my mind.
And welcome back for the remainder of the Grade 1 competition. This is the current standings, your top 12. So out in front is Sara Morganti for Italy on 78.393. Michael Murphy sits in silver on 74.143, and Jens Lasse-Dokken sits in bronze for Norway on 72.750. So we've already crowned 2 world champions today, and we have 4 more riders before the 3rd world champion is decided for Grade 1. So the first to go will be Laurentia Tan for Singapore, and she will be coming down the centre line in just 2 minutes' time. And we have some really exciting combinations. You can just see the warm-up where Laurentia's doing some last-minute preparations before coming through. And Laurentia, second at the last World Equestrian Games. She's bringing forward a different horse here, but very experienced as a rider, and she will be looking to make her mark. Also following her will be Richard Snickers from Latvia, the silver medalist from Tokyo. He's had some huge scores this year so far. Double silver at WEG 2018, silver freestyle at WEG, double silver at Tokyo last year. So he's been putting in some really solid performances this year, and he's definitely one I will be looking forward to watching. We then have Roxanne Trunnell as well, the gold medalist from Tokyo, again bringing forward a slightly different horse. So 4 more to go, and this could change the top of the leaderboard. So coming forward for Singapore, Laurentia Tan with the 10-year-old gelding Hickstead. Currently ranked number 3 in the world on the FEI rankings. She competes a couple of horses, so points from both horses are included in that ranking. It's the rider ranking, not combination. So let's see what she will be putting forward today. Sara Morganti has laid down the mantle with a huge 78.393. She'll need over 72.750 to get on the podium. So just about to enter the arena, Laurentia Tan. And it will be really interesting. It's very square halt, just slightly stepped back, but still very good entrance. And it's got a lot busier here as the day has gone on. So we have some events going on this evening as well in the main stadium. But a lot of people have come over to watch the para dressage, which is really great to see. But these horses do need to hold their nerve to be able to show the relaxation needed in the test to get those high scores. This horse showing a really good rhythm, really consistent at the moment. Starting on a solid 71.3. So the judge at B&E would have had a really good view of that entrance and that halt, just that moment stepping back. Laurentia really taking her time in the arena to show off her horse, not rushing. Really keeping that activity in a good way without hurrying the horse along, just giving him time to show off his paces, set him up for each movement. Showing some good bend on the circle there. Again, there really isn't that much space for that change of bend. They're going towards the end of the arena, and it's a really quick adjustment to get the horse straight before preparing for the new bend, getting the bend and then riding that change of rein, keeping them in a good balance and the rhythm the same. Again, just leaving that one hind leg behind in the halt. But other than that, showing some really good immobility and really good steps into the halt. This horse has a really nice way about him, gives a really nice picture, and looks really focused on her. That looked a little bit wide, that loop, so just coming quite close to the boards. So the judge at C will have a really good view of the symmetry and how well she's placed at either side of the centre line. And the judges on the short side, either side of them, will have a really good view of that three-quarter line. Accuracy so important when you're looking at these 7.5s to 8s or 8s to 8.5s and 9s. We've seen some really small margins today deciding the medals and just outside the medals, so every point really counts. Just coming down for that final halt. Oh, and just step back again with that right hind. A really good immobility. Really, really pleased. She looks very happy with that. And not quite pulling in the scores that Sarah Morganti has, but still looking very positive and may just knock Jens out of that bronze medal position. Showing those highlights from there. That halt can be so expensive. There's no hiding on that line. The judges at E and B can see how straight you are. Judge at C can see if it's square. A really super attitude, that horse. Just jumping there at the clapping and not quite used to these sort of crowds. Even Tokyo was a relatively closed event, so this has a very different busyness to it. So we haven't yet got the scores for Laurentia, but this next combination coming in is definitely one to watch. So sit up, because this could be one to change the leaderboard. Next in, for Latvia, Richard Snickers with the 14-year-old King of the Dance. And this combination has had a very good record. Double silver at Tokyo Paralympics, silver in the freestyle at the World Equestrian Games, and it just got through the scores for Laurentia, so 73.678. So she just slots into third behind Michael Murphy for Ireland, who stays in silver, and ahead of Jens. So Jens now down into fourth, and Laurentia currently sitting in the bronze medal position. Richard, double silver medal from Tokyo with very, very strong scores. Silver freestyle medal at the World Equestrian Games in 2018. And this year, he's been scoring 77% consistently in the straight tests, but he hasn't been beaten. So he comes here with a very good record, and this partnership is so lovely to watch. He is such a nice guy and a super halt. Straight in. And he is so lovely. He loves this horse. He has such a good partnership with this horse. He is so much fun. He's the first on the dance floor, the last off the dance floor. He always has the biggest smile on his face, except when he's riding his test, when he just has so much determination. And look at that for a starting score. 82% he started on. He is so competitive, and I really have everything crossed for him. Showing some really good consistent work here. And the horse is just so steady with its rhythm, so willing, so good in the rein. And you can see Rihard has a fair bit of movement with his hands, involuntary movement due to his disability, and the horse just stays, just accepts the contact when he can give it to him. He stays in the right frame when he loses his balance a little bit or loses the connection. He's just always there. And that's exactly what the judges want to see, but it's so difficult to achieve. Just has a tiny bit too much inside flexion on this circle. Just lost a tiny bit of balance to the outside, but really good change of bend there. And this horse just walks. They always say the mark of a good walk is like a horse walking to its feed bucket, marching along. And look at that halt. Straight in, bang on. Very good immobility. That's why he's pulling the marks in. You can see his ears just twitching, waiting for the next command. What now, Dad? And it's so close between him and Sarah. Just a tiny loss of rhythm there. Just on that turn. Minuscule, but these small margins make all the difference. Again, leaning forwards to give the stretch, not throwing those reins away because he might struggle to get them back. And he just knows his job. The rein goes forward and the horse takes it forward and down. The walk rhythm doesn't change. He just keeps walking. And he's turning down for the final centre line. And all we need now is one of those cracking halts that you've just been doing. I feel tense for him. What a test. What a test. He gives his horse a hug. Thank you. We owe them everything, these horses. They don't care what medal they get. So lovely to see, and he walks out on a loose rein just as happy as when he came in. So impressive to watch, and such a nice partnership. And he raises his hand coming out here at the arena. He's such a showman. He's giving his supporters a big thumbs up, and they're giving him a big cheer in return. And we're waiting for them. And they're just coming through now. Wow, he's done it! Judge at E 78.2, judge at H 77.3, judge at C 77.5, judge at M 77.3, and judge at B 82.321. Leaves him on 78.535. Wow! Wow, wow, wow! Our first 80. Unbelievable. And there he goes, straight to the top of the leaderboard by 0.2%. Superb. Straight to the top of the leaderboard. Sarah Morganti now in silver and Michael Murphy hanging on there in bronze. Well, Sarah laid down the gauntlet and he responded with a high 78. Fantastic. And judge at B really enjoying that performance, an 82%. Superb. It's so great to see these scores because the quality of the sport has definitely gone up, and it's so nice to see the judges feeling confident and rewarding them with the big scores. So, next to go, the double Paralympic champion from Tokyo, who posted some world record-breaking scores last year and set the world alight, is back. For the USA, Roxanne Tronnell, and this time she brings forward her 6-year-old chestnut stallion, Fortunato H2O. Well, this is going to be close. This may be another medal contender. This horse not been hugely competed. He's done just one show internationally. Only 6 years old, so relatively unknown. But Roxanne, obviously, that fantastic performances out in Tokyo last year. So we shall see what she has today. So Roxanne will be looking to, this horse just 6 years old has got an awful lot of pressure on his shoulders, and she'll be looking her main priority to give him a good experience and a good halt to start. Give him a good experience, ready for the rest of the week and ready for his future. She'll be looking to bring him on ready for Paris Paralympics, and it's really important that this is a positive experience for him. And this horse, just 6 years old, coming into this arena really confidently. A super temperament. Starting on 70. Showing a really good consistent rhythm here and really keeping his attention on Roxanne. There's a lot to distract him. Stallion too. Really staying with her and listening to her aids. You can just see how he slightly adjusts his balance sometimes, a little bit of loss of rhythm when he loses his balance, and just gets a little bit onward with Roxanne, and she just has to half out him, rebalance him and then carry on. But really nice to see her respond to that and do that really quickly and then give him the confidence to keep going. Again, another good halt, just leaving the hind leg out a little bit behind for the big marks, but good immobility. It's really nice and soft and good in the frame. Really consistent. Again, for the bigger marks, sometimes drops down a little bit too much and just loses that bit of self-carriage, but wow, just 6 years old. Some really nice changes of bend here, just keeping that rhythm the same. Roxanne, another rider, able to just let the rein slip through her hands for that stretch. And it really helps when you can do that and as a rider stay in the same balance and help your horse with your body. When you have to tip forwards, that can affect the balance and put them on the forehand. And you lose a lot of that contact with your seat and the saddle, and it makes it much more difficult to influence the horse with your body. A really nice pickup again, just a little bit against the hand here on the last centre line at times, but super well presented test. Very nicely ridden by Roxanne, and a lovely temperament from this horse, and a good halt to finish. And a few sighs of relief, I think, from the kiss and cry box. I think it's harder for them watching sometimes. And even didn't mind the clapping. There's tears. It means so much to the riders, but also the people around them. You know, they're on the journey with us too. And they go on all the highs and lows that we take them on. And he just strolls out there. He doesn't even mind about the clapping, the crowds. Just incredible. And that big smile at the end. And here are her scores just coming through. So, judge at E, 73.2. Judge at H, 71.0. Judge at C, 74.4. Judge at M, 73.3. And judge at B, 70.7. Which leaves her on 72.571 and into sixth for now, which means Rihard Snickers is guaranteed a medal, Sarah Morganti is guaranteed a medal, Michael Murphy stays in bronze with just one rider to go. So the podium is unchanged for now. We have just one rider to go before our next world champion is crowned. And the final competitor of the day and this class for Canada, Jodie Schloss, riding the 18-year-old gelding, Lieutenant Lobin. So just been led round now by Clive Milkins, the Canadian team trainer. Started a number of British riders off, myself included. He now works closely with the Canadian team. Had a huge amount of success working together with Sophie Christensen for Great Britain. So he has a lot of experience in Grade 1 producing these championship horses. Just entering the arena now. This horse just showing a bit of tension. Tail quite high. Big atmosphere. Holding it together. Just not showing that relaxation and that consistent rhythm that we've seen from some of the others. But she's doing a good job to keep him focused. Keep any disruptions to a minimum. Showing some nice bend on that circle, really moving in the direction of the circle, bending around her inside leg. Just starting to drop down and soften a little bit for her. So just having to work a little bit too hard to establish that halt from the rein, not quite walking through and over the back into it, but square once you got it. It could have just been a little bit cleaner going into that halt, a little bit more over the back, and just showed some resistance from the hand. Again, it's not just the movement itself, it's that transition into and then transition out of as well that can really impact it. Starting to settle the more the test goes on, which is really nice to see. Nicely taking that rein forward and down when it was offered. You can just see there when the rider has to lean forwards, it's it's hard to then use their body to keep the hind legs underneath them, because you lose that contact point with your seat and the saddle. But you have to do what you have to do, and if you can't drop the rein, that is the only way to do that. So just on this last centre line, going into the final hole with a big smile on her face. She's enjoyed the ride, and a nice halt to finish, and big smiles, big pats. And she's just leaving the arena while we wait for the final scores, before the scores can be announced. But looking at the running average, it does look like the podium will be unchanged, but we'll just wait for confirmation on that. Big pats and congratulations she was getting from Clive there. And here's the score. The judge at E, 69.6, judge at H, 65.5, judge at C, 70.3, judge at M, 68.3, judge at B, 66.9, which leaves her on 68.179 and into 12th. Which also means we have our new world champion in grade 1 in Richard Snickers for Latvia on 78.535. It means Sara Morganti for Italy will take the silver on 78.393. And it also means that Michael Murphy, riding for Ireland, has stayed in bronze medal position and will receive his first ever medal on 74.143. And what a comeback after his disappointment in Tokyo last year. Incredible. Laurentia Tan sits in 4th there, just missing out on the medals, and Jens Lassedokken, the first rider to go, just got pushed out of the medals with the last few riders to go. But what a result for Richard Snickers, and I am so pleased for Michael. His team have worked so hard to get him here. He's had such a good run up to this competition, and he will remember this for a long, long time. So here you see 10th to 16th. And again, within that class, there will be a real push for that qualification for the freestyle. That top 8 just going through. All of which currently sit over 71%, so very competitive based on the scores from the individual. But what a result. New high score of the day. 2 riders on 78. Over the moon for Richard. And for Sarah and for Michael. So, so good. What a day. And we'll shortly bring you an interview with our winning rider ahead of the prize giving and medal presentation.
Rihad, a huge congratulations on your first World Equestrian Gold Medal. How does it feel right now? What was your favorite part of the test today?
Favorite past?
Yeah.
Kāda ir mīļākā vieta testa tev šodien bija? Volti? Volt.
The vault, okay. Well done, you, and huge congratulations.
It's okay.
Hi there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medal ceremony in the Orifarm Healthcare FEI World Car Dressage Individual Championship presented by LSAT's Fountain for Grade 1. Please welcome into the arena first our hostess and also a warm welcome to our presenting party.
So we now have the medal presentation for the Grade 1s. And the gold medalist cycling in, Richard Snickers from Latvia on a huge score of 78.535. Sara Morganti from Italy takes the silver with 78.393, and Michael Murphy for Ireland, his first World Championships, his first ever medal, bronze on 74.143. And I've just seen Michael's mum, and I've said if she doesn't cry, I will be fuming because I nearly cried. It's so nice to see, after all the disappointment in Tokyo, to come back, pull out a performance like that at his first ever World Championships, and really hold his own to bring back that bronze.
We will now ask our athletes.
So many good stories behind the scenes here for these riders.
Medalist Michael Murphy from Ireland.
And here he goes onto the podium. I think it still hasn't quite sunk in, but maybe once he gets that medal around his neck.
Sara Morganti from Italy.
And the silver medal, Sara Morganti from Italy. Big smiles all around. Very close when it came down to it, just 0.2% between the silver and the gold. But the gold finally went to Richard Snickers from Latvia, with that huge 82% from one of the judges.
Our FEI board member and European Equestrian Federation President Theo Plögmakers to present the medals for our athletes, starting with the bronze medal.
And they just come forward to present the medals.
Riding Clever Boy,
Michael Murphy takes his bronze medal. think it might take a while for this to sink in, but he'll definitely remember it for a long time.
Italy, Sarah Morganti riding Royal Delight.
Sarah Morganti taking that silver medal. She's no stranger to a podium. But these performances mean so much to the athletes. So much goes into them. So much time and effort behind the scenes, and there are so many people that are part of that 4.5 minutes in the arena.
And now the gold medal for our new world champion, Richard Sneakers.
And the gold medal, Richard Sneakers from Latvia takes that gold medal. So pleased for him.
Let's be upstanding for the national anthem of Latvia.
He's showing off his gold medal very proudly and so well deserved.
And our presenting sponsor, Dressage from Chairman of the Board, Dressage, please step forward to present our athletes with congratulations and flowers.
Just stepping forward there to present the athletes with their flowers. These sponsors just really make these championships possible for us. So grateful. Such a lot goes into these championships, and it really is a huge team event. Team behind the scenes. And we have the presentation of the Longines watch to the new gold medalist. He's raising his flowers and his medal in the air. You are the winner, top of the world.
Unforgettable photos taken now of our medalists, our gold, silver and bronze medalists. And now it's time to thank the horses and the grooms as they're leaving the arena before we are going to have a lap of honor.
And the horses just been led out there by their grooms. The champions.
Followed by Royal Delight and the little boy.
Those true champions, the horses that make it possible. Clever Boy just being led out at the end with his Michael's trainer Elder. as they get ready for their lap of honour.
For the lap of honor by our three medalists, our gold medalist, Mika Sneakers, our silver medalist, Sarah Morganti, and our bronze medalist, Michael Murphy.
Sarah just congratulating Riyadh there. 3 superstars. And a very, very strong class we had in grade 1. We had the top 10 over 70%.
So, let's have a round of applause for our medalists in art
And they're off. The lap of honour.
individual championship.
Our 3 champions from grade 1. And they set off for that second lap of honour, taking in the moment, and what an incredible end to an incredible day. So we will be back tomorrow for the grade 4s and the grade 3s to finish the individual medals. Until then, congratulations everyone. Enjoy this moment.